We are back with yet another episode of the Between the Hashes podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. As always, joined by Braden Bankin, Brock Bierman, and myself, Dawson Livingston. Fellas, how are we doing?
What is something funny?
Nope.
You
Nothing
seem to
at
be
all.
rather entertained over there. In my misery as a football fan.
Yes, that is what I'm...
Niners got smoked by a team that looked mediocre at best, and Iowa State football looks terrible.
Your teams are playing like a bunch of
There's
wieners
nothing
right
to be
now.
happy about. The team needs a morale boost, and I'm here for it. I'm here whenever they need us.
I love that. That's the
Whenever they
background.
need me, my DMs are open.
I wish that we could just take our face cams off and still be able to talk, but...
I think I could change the settings to do that potentially. One sec.
Yeah,
Keep going though.
Our video viewers need to be able to see this background in full.
Yeah,
to get the full context.
audio listeners get screwed, I guess.
Yeah,
Come watch the YouTube.
Watch the YouTube.
There is absolutely nothing we could say right now to like make this at all clear. There are no words to describe the demon I've become.
We'll give the audio listeners a slight hit. It is Halloween in 2 days as we're recording. It is October 29th. So,
and I just so happen to have a leftover Halloween costume that may or may not be a fan favorite. Let's just say
may or may not be the reason why Bank is Twitter famous. Just saying.
May or may not have given me like 5,000 likes on Twitter.
There we go.
Whatever that number is, I don't even know. It might not even be 1,000. Fact check myself live.
Braden's a hot dog. Dawson, you are what?
I'm Napoleon Dynamite, but I just don't have my afro from last year.
Oh, I dropped to 978. That's sad.
And then
probably had like 200 bots get banned or something.
This mess of a hoodie was something I put together in 5 minutes once I found out that in a week in advance that I was going to a Halloween costume related party. And I was told that the person I was going with was going as Ghostface. So I was like, well, I guess I'll be a victim. So I bought a white hoodie, bought some paint, fabric paint specifically too. And for those, my brother happened to get his wisdom teeth taken out like a month before that. So he had a leftover syringe that he never ended up using. So I put the paint, watered it down, and literally just pulled the syringe, put the hoodie on the deck, aimed it, and just for a good 5 minutes.
It works.
I did learn fabric paint stains.
Oh, I bet.
And it doesn't get removed.
I bet.
So, really, I would have never guessed.
So good to know next time I'm at your house to just look where the fabric paint was.
Oh, it's it's not like completely obvious, but it's also like this deck is already like really, really old. So like it just adds character to this already like seasoned deck. But the problem is though is I wish I would have bought two plain white hoodies because this hoodie is like really comfortable, but I can't wear this anywhere.
You could.
It doesn't.
You
would
just get some weird looks.
Yeah, it looks like either you stabbed somebody or you just had like a really bad time with a ketchup bottle.
Yeah, which both can be both have been true. Well,
it depends on how mad you get at the ketchup, I suppose.
Nothing worse, honestly, than a ketchup bottle just like exploding.
Oh, dude! Even like when the little like the rip top, like the little tab, if that just rips off, then you're just stuck with the white thing. Like, it's, dude.
Fellas, I'm realizing as I'm staring at my face cam that I look more like Kip from Napoleon Dynamite right now than I actually look like Napoleon Dynamite. So that's a great start.
You gotta do. Yeah,
I don't have
you need to find that afro.
I don't have it with me. It's up. It would be up in my college house, which, good Lord, couldn't tell you where that wig is at right now.
That is not worth it.
No. But
hey, another great comparison. If you guys watch some videos or seen some memes on social media, Arch Manning does throw a lot like Uncle Rico does.
Uncle Rico, yeah.
You should look up the clips of how he throws the ball. It's kind of interesting, not gonna lie. But yeah, football.
Yeah, All
right.
Gonna be honest, fellas.
I'm taking this off. We got the opening bit.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm gonna be honest, and I don't know if you guys will agree. Football product that was put on the field last week.
Whew.
Not really anything. Not really anything to write home about.
What was there? One game within one score in the whole weekend? At least the whole Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Monday was a blowout too.
Yeah, there was actually, like Braden said, there was one game that was within 7 points, and the other ones were blowouts, wins by 2 possessions or more. So not really too much to talk about, like from last week's games, but this episode's going to be talking a lot about trade deadline, with the NFL trade deadline being 6 days away as we're recording here on Wednesday. But we are going to start with the Thursday night game. We won't spend too much time on it, but Chargers win this one 37-10 against the Minnesota Vikings. This game was in LA. LA looked really dominant. Herbert played well. Obviously, the Chargers are without Amari and Hampton for a few more weeks. But the Chargers may have found a hidden gem in the draft in Oronde Gadsden. Is that how you say his name? The tight end for the Chargers?
That's close enough. We know what you're talking about.
But yeah, Chargers pick up another win. Vikings looked really rough on offense. Found out after the game Carson Wentz is going to be out for the year after the injuries he sustained in not only this game, but a couple other games, including the game over in Europe. But what were your guys' thoughts on this game?
Yeah, the Vikings, they better hope J.J. McCarthy comes back all right. I mean, Max Brosmer had some moments there in the preseason, but the fact that they had Carson Wentz out there with, what was it, a torn labrum, I think it was, for 2.5 games, that's like, I mean, you're talking about, this was one of the highest ranked like franchises when they have like the annual report cards. So for them to go and do this, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. You want to make sure JJ McCarthy's fully healthy, but that's why you have more guys on the roster. You cannot let somebody with a torn labrum and among other injuries out there for 2 whole games. That's just flat out borderline incompetence at that point. I mean, it's one thing if Carson Wentz before the injuries was doing pretty well, but it's not like the last 2 games he's been playing like great ball. He's looked maybe like decent for a backup, but I don't know why they kept putting him out there, and who knows what kind of long-term damages this might have done. As far as the defense goes, I mean, this is back-to-back weeks where this is a Brian Flores defense, which I still think Flores is obviously still a really good coordinator. If not, probably should go be a head coach somewhere. But this is not a good look for your defense to be giving up this many points. I mean, last week let Jalen Hurts look like a world beater, which he did look pretty good again this week. But still, just not great. And I know, well, Andrew Van Ginkel's been hurt as well. Also was playing through some sort of injury. Just a lot of weird stuff going on in Minnesota right now.
Not much really to add on to that. This is going to be a hard episode to talk about football because these games are stinkers, man. It was not fun to watch football this week. And the Cardinals didn't even play. So, like, the one team that you could almost rely on for it to be at least a competitive, close game wasn't even playing this week. So
we didn't even have our 2022 Nebraska Cornhuskers to just make it look competitive and then lose in the most hilarious way imaginable.
Exactly.
The best 3-win team of all time? Is that what you're referring to?
The one and only. The Scott Frost special.
But, yeah, as much as it pains me to say, it sucks that Carson Wentz got hurt, and it's even worse that the Minnesota Vikings put him in a situation like this. But also, it was a get-right game for the Chargers. I felt like they've been struggling a little bit recently, so any win is a good win for them. I felt like at this point in the season, and a 37-10 victory against Minnesota on Thursday night is a good way to maybe point them in the right direction because, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries as well. So, yeah.
This was one of our game of the week picks. Me and Brock both picked up a win. We both went Chargers. I went 28-21. Brock went 24-14. Braden unfortunately chose the Vikings, and the Vikings obviously lost, but his score was 24-21. that was just one of our game of the week picks.
That was my only win, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Did I have a win this week? I think I might have had one.
Yeah, you guys went 2 win.
Yeah.
You guys both had 2.
Oh, I did have 2.
Oh, 1. Sorry.
1.
Okay, I thought so.
But yeah, I mean, the only other really like competitive game that we could talk about is Jets Bengals that happened on Sunday.
Which, good lord, who would have thought Jets and Bengals would have been a good game to talk about?
Yeah, I mean,
we would have thought it would have been a close game, but not in the sense of this might have been game of the week.
Yeah, this should have honestly been one of our game of the week picks, but yeah, Jets win this one 39-38, pick up their first win of the year, improved to 1-7. Breece Hall had an unbelievable day for the Jets. Justin Fields was put out there. I know there was the rumors that Tyrod was going to get the start, but then Tyrod was eventually ruled out. Flacco played okay. Flacco had a rushing touchdown. Was not on my bingo card for this game, but it happened. Jamar Chase, excellent as always. But what were your guys' thoughts on this one?
I mean, I feel like I've been saying this whole time. Offense is not the question. Question is, can they do anything on defense? And my God, they cannot do anything on defense. You allowed. I feel like I need to get closer to just make sure you guys are realizing the severity of the situation. They allowed the Aaron Glenn New York Jets with Justin Fields to put up 500 yards. What? That
and didn't their
you should be relegated for that.
Didn't Hendrickson get hurt too?
Yeah, he did. They didn't look great like before.
Yeah, but like this whole thing is falling apart for their defense even more. Like just when you thought it couldn't get worse,
the Jets were one of the worst offensive lines as far as pressures allowed. The Bengals got one. What are we talking about? You let Breece Hall throw a double pump passing touchdown to win the game. What are we talking about? How does this happen?
I for one enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun to watch as an Iowa State fan. Trust me, I am a big fan of Breece Hall.
Breece Hall learned that double pump from Brock Purdy, man.
Yeah, I'm glad that worked for him, but I would not recommend watching the Iowa State Brock Purdy film if you want to be an NFL quarterback. But it again worked out for him, but there's some interesting tape on there. And if you're watching the Hero Ball stuff, anyways, to get back on track, don't get me started.
Do you know what play I was referencing right there?
Probably. Is that the Cheez-It Bowl one where he just volleyball spiked it into the defender's hands?
No, that was the TCU one where he was falling down and like just threw the ball up, and the announcer just goes, Brock Purdy, oh, what is he doing? What is Brock Purdy doing?
There were a couple of those in his career. I'll tell you what, I am glad he's carved out such a successful career for himself. I did not see this coming.
Hey, with what's been happening recently for you guys, it looks like the small conversations that were had probably just for TV purposes of whether or not him or Mac Jones should be the starter. I feel like a lot of that has died down. But getting back to the Jets game, just what a performance, honestly, by the offensive line and Breece Hall in that fourth quarter. Really, Breece Hall is the reason that the Jets won this game, alongside with the offensive line. 18 carries, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, while also being able to complete a pass for a touchdown late in that game as well. Which, I mean, Mason Taylor, great catch by him too. Like, you got to give credit to the person that caught the ball.
Oh yeah, well. He had tapped Taylor Britt. Absolutely. I mean, yeah,
but disappointing. Like, you thought Joe Flacco comes in, you have a very good win the week before, first game as a starter there, and you're like, okay, the Bengals could do something, and then you go and pull this, like everything.
We just had a conversation 2 weeks ago about what happens if the Bengals make the playoffs with Joe Flacco
last week.
They just lost to the
literally
last week.
7 days ago.
Literally last week. and they just lost to the Aaron Glenn Jets.
Which we talked about. You guys said the Jets can't keep their head coach if they don't win a game. Does this I'm not saying that this changes anything, but
I will say this is not at all comparable, but this is like of the same magnitude as when the Bengals made the Super Bowl, and like everybody was like, "Oh, I don't know, it's the Bengals," and then I was on the Bengal train. I was like, "All right, these guys might be real," and then they played the Jets and lost. I was like, "All right, well, I don't know, Dawson,
so
you know exactly what I'm talking about," but. It has that same kind of way. It's like there's no way the Bengals lose this game, right? And then they lose the game. So I do not believe in Ohio sports, at least football, at least NFL football.
Yeah, I was gonna say pro football.
Yeah, I think it's bad when 2 of your last 3 first-round draft picks have been on the D-line. Miles Murphy and Shamar Stewart combined for 2 tackles. And Shamar Stewart, we talked about him all offseason. But where has he been at? And I know he's dealt with some injuries, but he has 3 tackles on the year.
I mean, this is what happens when you miss the entirety of your first offseason and you already were a project pick in the first place. I mean, again, add that to the who could have seen this one coming? Wink, wink.
But yeah, a pretty embarrassing performance if you're anyone on the Bengals defense. Not to get a single sack on that bad of a Jets O-line is truly embarrassing. And I know Hendrickson went out in that game, but good boy.
Membu's been playing pretty well this year, but there's still 4 other offensive linemen you could probably take advantage of, and you didn't.
Yeah. One of our other game of the weeks that we had was Niners-Texans. Texans end up picking this one up 26-15. Mac Jones doing Mac Jones things. Less than 200 yards. Did have 2 touchdowns, but did have a pick. No ground game at all for San Francisco, only having 48 yards on the ground. But I think that's more of Houston's incredible D-line and how good that defense for Houston is, more so than the Niners having a bad game. But what were your guys' thoughts on Houston winning this one?
Pain. That's all.
Okay.
The Texans confuse me, man. I feel like their offense should be rolling every week, but this has been such a slow burn of a development of an offense. And I know their offensive line we've mentioned there's been a lot of question marks about it. But the receivers that they have, the running backs that they have, and the quarterback that they have, there's no reason that they should be struggling as much as they have this season. Fortunately, they came up against a very injured heavy defense on the 49ers and were able to get the ball rolling through the air a little more. And with that, I mean, they got the win. Stroud had a season high 318 yards passing. Maybe this is what the Texans need to be able to take that next step and be able to get back in the playoff race. At the same time, the 49ers, for the players that can make a return this season, they just need to get healthy. I still am not getting rid of this idea that they could make the Super Bowl, because I really do think if healthy with the players that are not out for the year already, I think that they could still make a pretty decent chance or a fight towards a Super Bowl run. But the longer that everybody gets healthy, and then the more that people are getting injured on this team, the harder and harder it's going to be for that to be a possibility for them. And I mean, Mac Jones is officially proven that he, like I said earlier, the conversations of whether or not Purdy or Jones should be the 49ers quarterback, that some of these analysts have had just to, get clicks and ratings, that has died quickly, to say the least. So they need to get Purdy back. They need to be able to get the ball just rolling more on the offensive side. Honestly, people probably haven't been talking about it enough. They just need to get a receiver that they can almost rely on, like a go-to receiver that they can rely on. And the worst part about it is, yes, they do have Brandon Ayuk looking like he might make a return this year, but like it's hard to think that he is going to be able to make 100% impact starting out after being out for a year with an ACL tear.
I do want to add one more thing. Kyle Shanahan, buddy, you've been there for 8 years. Every single time there's been an opportunity to bring somebody else in through your training staff, you like the whole time has been just hiring from within. Almost every time. So when you start putting these guys in positions they have no business being in, and you start wondering, why do we keep having this many player injuries? What's going on? Can we maybe hire some people that are actually qualified to do the job? Just a thought. Also, if you're a Cyclone homer, you had a really good Sunday. All three of the Cyclone receivers for Houston had great games because the 49ers secondary right now in general is just not great.
Yeah.
You mentioned, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good,
Dawson, but you mentioned the Iowa State guys for the Texans, and then, we mentioned Breece Hall too with the Jets. I think, if I remember correctly,
Kohler had a touchdown as well.
Every Iowa State player that played last week, not is on a roster for a team that played, but played. Their team won their game last week. So Kohler and Hummel with the Ravens, Hall, McDonald with the Jets, obviously the receiving trio with the Texans, Wazrike with the Broncos, also TJ Tampa and Alan Lazard. Tampa with the Ravens, Lazard with the Jets. Montgomery and Porter were on buys with the Lions and Raiders. Purdy didn't play. Kine Wangwu with the Jets and Jalen Travis with the Indianapolis Colts. So, yeah,
I think really Wangwu is out for the year.
Yeah, Wangwu is out,
but still.
So, players that stepped on the floor on the field this week for the Cyclones. Good weekend outside of the actual Cyclones themselves.
Typical.
Yep. Yeah, I think, I don't know, kind of a rough one for all three of us on Sunday in this game because all three of us went Niners in this pick. I had 24-17, Brock had 27-17, Braden had 28-17. All three of us had the Houston Texans scoring 17 points, which obviously
they scored more than that. So
they scored 26.
A few more than that.
But yeah, that means all three of us got an L for that game. But I don't know what to make of Houston, like Brock said. Some weeks they look really good, some weeks they look really bad. Is Stroud starting to turn it around? Who knows? No Nico Collins this game, so if your offense looked this good without Nico Collins, who knows what it's going to look like when he comes back. I still have concerns about the running game, and it sounds like Mixon may or may not be back this year. Who really knows at that point? But that Houston defense is always going to be what they hang their hat on. I mean, their D-line is unreal. Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, Derek Barnett, all those guys on that D-line are playmakers. And even though they have a 3-4 record, I think this team is they're scarier than we want to give them credit for, is how I'll put
it. They remind me just a lot of like outside the outlier of the year that they made the Super Bowl, but just the Atlanta Falcons kind of during the Matt Ryan years where like their offense could either be really good or just non-existent. Minnesota in those years as well as another team. I think maybe that's a better comparison just because Minnesota had usually good defenses during those seasons. I don't know. The Texans, I feel like they have the pieces. They just need to win games for those pieces to make sense, I guess. It's weird. But
not what I meant to do. But yeah, they've just played a lot of close games and have just gotten the unfortunate end of all these close games. They lost by 5 points to the Rams, lost by a point to the Bucks, 7 points to the Jags, 8 points to the Seahawks. Like those are all, other than the Seahawks game, those are one possession games. And then the games they have won, they've looked pretty dominant. 26-0 against the Titans, 44-10 against the Ravens. Granted, no Lamar, and then obviously a double-digit win against the Niners. But yeah, they are. I would say they're the AFC wild card if they're able to turn it around on offense and Stroud's able to string together some good games. Because I still have my doubts about certain teams in that division, which we'll get into later. But who knows? If they can string together some wins, they might make a little bit of a run. Are there any other games other than our last game of the week that you guys want to hammer on?
Not really. I mean, I think we said this enough this episode already, but this was one of the weeks of all time for sure.
Only one I would want to mention is sucks that the Giants had this little bit of hope of what the future could be with their offense, which is so funny now looking back at it. No one thought about actually Cam Scatterboo specifically being an important part of this offense heading into the season. They were like, maybe he was kind of a wild card. And then, you lose Neighbors. Just imagine if Neighbors never got hurt, how much potential this offense would have heading into the back half of the season, as well as heading into next year. And then you got Neighbors out as well as Scatterboo, which I haven't even read the newest details. It sounds like his injury was way worse than they may have first led on to believe. Maybe I misread something, but he won't be playing next year. Maybe it's not as bad as I think, but it looks really rough. And I don't recommend anyone seeing that. Immediately had PTSD as a Boston fan when I saw that play. Just from it looked very similar to a Celtics player that I watched get hurt an opening night a couple years ago. So I just wanted to. I know that we probably weren't going to talk a lot about the Giants, but just I'm not a huge fan of any New York team, but that was the first time I was like, damn, this season for them has just been, it's been way better and also way worse than they could have imagined heading into this year.
Yeah, I will say, per Rappaport, looks like he posted 13 hours ago. Yeah, Scatterboo not only suffered a dislocated ankle, but also a fibula fracture and a deltoid ligament rupture. I don't know what any of those words mean, but they don't sound good. But
isn't your fibula the hardest bone to break?
I don't think any bone is necessarily easy to break, but yeah, it says his injury has roughly a 6-month recovery, which means even at the very latest benchmark, he should be ready to roll for OTAs and minicamp. So
okay, maybe he will play.
He should be fine to play at least week 1.
Yeah, but
will he be the same kind of guy? We'll find out.
He's already a running back that has a bunch of miles because they used him a bunch at ASU, and they were giving him a bunch of carries with the Giants the weeks he was getting the nod as the starter. I don't think he's gonna slow down a little bit from where he was at this point in the year, but I don't know. I still think he's gonna be a pretty effective player next year for the Giants, and it sucks. You look at some of the games they could have won and could have lost. They lost by 3 points to the Cowboys very early in the season in week 2, and that thrilling 40-37 game. They lose tragically to the Broncos last week when they had no business of losing that game whatsoever. So those are potentially 2 wins that swing into your favor. But yeah, it's rough for Scatterboo. If you are a Cam Scatterboo fantasy owner, I really apologize because he was an absolute animal this year for the Giants. But that will move into our last game of the week game of the week pick. Pardon me. Little not revenge, but a reunion game almost. Packers Steelers. Packers win this one 35-25. Jordan Love was outstanding in this game. 360 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Rodgers looked okay. 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the Packers really in the second half went on a tear, scoring 28 points in the second half, while the Steelers only scored 9. What were you guys' thoughts on this game?
Jordan Love looks really good. And this is kind of the big thing I said about the Packers is that the rest of the roster I think is there. It's can you get consistently with Jordan Love? And he had 20 straight completions at one point, which that's something that Rodgers never even did. So if you can get that or even like 80% of that on a week-to-week basis, you're looking at a Super Bowl team.
Why? Go ahead.
As far as Steelers defense goes, though, there's been a lot of games where you're giving up a lot more points than you really should be with how, I guess, like how good this defense is supposed to be. They are giving up a lot of points, and we will I'll probably talk about it later. But there's a bit of a they're getting some more reinforcements in, which we'll see if that helps at all. But especially for Mike Tomlin, his whole thing is defense. And it feels like the last couple of weeks, his team has been trying to rely a lot more on its offense than it really can afford to.
Why do I always fall for this Steelers propaganda that maybe they're just good at
man.
Because I should have looked at their record. I should have looked at their record and I was like, oh, they're 2 games above 500. There's heading into the week. There's no reason why they should be more than 2 games above 500 under Mike Tomlin, at least if you look in the last decade of what they've been able to do. So that was my mistake for taking Pittsburgh in that first place. But good performance by the Packers. I mean, it's kind of funny. 5-1-1, man. Not many people are really talking about that. I felt like the chatter about how good Green Bay is has died since that tie against Dallas. And because that tie is kind of sitting there, nobody really wants to bring up Green Bay as much, but they only have 1 loss.
Yeah, but it's to the Browns. So I think that also is kind of hampering people's ability to be like, is this team for real? Because, I mean, yeah, you've looked really good in the wins that you got, but you lost to the Browns and you tied with a Cowboys team that, yeah, I mean, Dak looks really good, but outside of that, Javonte Williams is having a good season, but that defense has been a big question mark.
Yeah.
We'll see. We need to have an uncomfortable conversation about Mike Tomlin. There is no business his defense should be giving up this many points when it is the highest paid defense in NFL history. And it feels like the reason the Steelers brought in Rodgers, now correct me if I'm wrong, well, because, hey, we have a killer defense and we have a solid running game. We trust our defense to get stops and we trust our offense to be able to run the ball. Well, it feels like they can't do either of those things, and Rodgers isn't playing bad. I know everyone remembers how poorly he played last year with the Jets, but he's not playing bad this year for what we thought he was going to be in a 41-year-old quarterback. I mean, yeah, he's not having the most touchdowns or the most yards in the league, but he's 3rd in the NFL in passing touchdowns right now. He's only thrown 5 picks. He's only taken 12 sacks. He has a pass rating above 100. And for the Steelers defense to constantly be giving up a bunch of points, 35 this week. How many points last week to the Bengals? I'm totally blanking right now.
God, what was it? 25, 30? Around
giving
there?
Up 35 to the Packers, 33 to the Bengals, 32 to the Jets in a game that you won. Granted, that's fine, you won, but you still give up 32 to the Jets, and then giving up 31 to the Seahawks. When are we going to see this Steelers defense turn over? And for Mike Tomlin to be the head man of the defense, and for this defense to be this bad, with Rodgers playing this well for what we would have expected, I think it's super surprising. But do you guys think Tomlin's on the hot seat? Not hot seat, but
hot seat, no. But yeah, you definitely expected this team to be a lot better. I think I said in the preseason, if we can get a top half of the starting quarterbacks in the league performance out of Aaron Rodgers, we're going to be looking at a playoff team for sure. Yeah, he's been top, I don't know, 12, 10.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's too ridiculous to say. And we're looking at 4-3 in a schedule that's not exactly been insane. The Packers are a good team, but there's no reason why you should have lost to the Bengals, who just lost to the Jets.
Who the Steelers barely beat.
Yeah. With how good Rodgers is playing, yeah, their whole thing was y'all lost Najee Harris in the offseason, but was Najee Harris making this much of a difference in the run game to where now it's just like Jaylen Warren's doing okay, but most of his production's been kind of coming in the pass game? Is Najee Harris responsible for giving up 30 points a game on defense? I don't think so. Like, what happened? Why? Mike Tomlin is thought of as one of the better defensive minds in the sport. What is going on? Yeah, they got to figure out that defense, and they got to figure it out quick, or else. Yeah, I don't think he'll ever get fired. He will not get fired. I think the Steelers in their history have only fired like 3 coaches. They've only had like 4 or 5 in their entire existence. He's there as long as he wants the job, but
I mean, at some point, when is this mediocrity going to end? I mean, they haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
I don't know, Dawson.
Hey, you leave Big Kirko alone. You leave Kirk Ferentz out.
What?
Of this.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, I knew you were implying something there, and Braden knew too. He just didn't want to say anything.
Honestly, I wasn't even referencing him. I was more referencing your guys' old basketball coach.
Oh,
because I feel like that would have been
Branwich, dude. That guy.
I mean, he did eventually get fired.
Yeah,
that's
took him about 10 years to
like being mediocre. Like can only get you so far. And I know that he's a Super Bowl winning coach, but like conversations, like so comparing him to Fran McCaffrey is like the definition of comparing apples and oranges. But like you still need to look at what Tomlin's been able to do for the Steelers recently, and like really like think of is he bringing anything to the table that's worth keeping him around any longer? I'm not saying that he needs to be on the hot seat, but like it's one of those things where the conversation needs to be had where it's like, okay, where are we at right now? Are we contending? Are we wanting to contend? And if we are, do we have the coach that is able to get us to that point? Also, vice versa. Are we not contending? Do we need to do a rebuild? Because they have an older roster, and in terms of you look at the players that they look for key plays. And if you're going to do a rebuild, I don't know if Tomlin's a guy that like you can really rebuild with, because it's never been a thing for him. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think the big gripe that we've all had for the Steelers is like, dude, if the Steelers can just get competent quarterback play, they'll be fine. But like they have that now, and they're still like finding ways to lose games they shouldn't have lost. This week I'll give them a pass because Green Bay, I think we all think is pretty good. But like last week, there's no business you should be giving up 33 points to the Cincinnati Bengals. There's just no way.
To give people an idea of how bad the Steelers defense at times has looked, especially because we're based in 515 and we have mentioned Kirk Ferentz. Imagine a world where the current Iowa offense, by the way, who is averaging more points, like this to give you an idea of how much this offense has improved. I get that they're not throwing touchdowns, but still, how much overrated. This offense has improved compared to other offenses in the state. They're averaging more points per game than Iowa State is currently. I think Iowa's averaging around 30.5, 30.6, and Iowa State's right around 29-ish points per game. So this is like if Iowa's offense right now, so the whole thing about Iowa has been if they just had a good quarterback, if they just had an offense. They have somewhat of an offense now. They're averaging 30 points a game, and you're seeing the results in better play, and arguably maybe should have one loss on the season. There's really only one loss where I feel like, yeah, they didn't deserve to win that game. And that's not even me trying to be biased. But so this is like if Iowa had a good offense, but for some reason their defense this year decided to be trash and gave up 35 points a game. And so it's like, well, what was this all about? We were wanting this one thing and we finally get it. And then now everything else that we were used to expecting of good defense is falling off.
It's like if it was the Iowa Rutgers game, but the whole season.
Literally. And Iowa still won that game.
Yeah.
No, I will say, circling back
with
to
Iowa and Pittsburgh literally being carbon copies of each other.
They are literally the same. Iowa even literally took Pittsburgh's old jersey and said, "Yeah, we're making this ours." Yeah. You here if I borrow this? No, all right, I'm doing it. Sweet.
Yeah.
I will give them credit. They did ask for permission.
They did at least ask for permission, which kind of
big thing.
That led to a whole smorgasbord of BS that we don't need to get into right
now. Yeah, man. If Aaron Rodgers had as many touchdowns that he did picks and just had 11 rushing touchdowns, it'd be the same. But
if Aaron Rodgers had 11 rushing touchdowns, at
imagine
41 years of age, he's automatically the greatest to ever do it. I don't care. But
do the Steelers need to draft Mark Gronowski? Like,
might as well bring in Petrus, dude. Bring in the whole gang.
God,
Brendan Sullivan
still in the NBA, the NFL,
NBA. That boy a hooping.
That boy hooping.
The only thing I really wanted to say though is circling back to a point you made. Even if it's in jest, if you're at the point where you're being compared to Fran McCaffrey, I think you need to have some serious soul searching as a professional.
And I will say, now that I say that, that's probably over exaggerating, but like
it probably is, but also like it's really funny, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Well, you look at it, like Fran, like was kind of like up and down, and then had this huge skyrocket of a couple seasons led by Luka Garza, so like the National Player of the Year. So that's one thing. But like after that, it took a huge dip, and then just mediocre.
Don't need to remind me. But yeah, I don't think Tomlin's getting fired.
No,
but it needs to be a discussion. Let's just put it.
He'll never be fired, but I think they need to have a real. There's a lot of the staff that I don't think should keep their jobs after this year, or if this persists into next year.
Yeah, certainly not great, especially with the play that you've been getting from Rodgers at this point in the season. But yeah, that is pretty much all the talk we have for like recapping games. Again, the games are really boring. I do want to get into some of the moves that have happened since our last episode, trade wise. These aren't like superstar trades, but we have had a couple of moves. Cornerback Roger McCreary has been traded from the Tennessee Titans to the Los Angeles Rams. I don't know if you guys have many thoughts on this move, but I think it happened Sunday morning or Sunday evening after the game, but any thoughts on this one?
The Titans seem to just be shedding any talent they have for just pennies on the dollar, which probably isn't a bad idea considering they need to be not winning games right now. But, I mean, we saw a couple weeks ago, Jarvis Brownlee got traded for a 6th-round pick. What was it, like Jarvis in a 7th for a 6th? That seems to just be, like, the trade this year is just, like, mediocre, like, could fill a roster spot player at a 7th for a 6th. I don't know if anybody else noticing this. That is just the trade package for, I think, all of these guys.
Pretty much.
But, I mean, McCreary's not bad. I think he'll help for the Rams who were starting Emmanuel Forbes, which if you've watched Emmanuel Forbes ball, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss. And second of all, he is very much upgradable, and I think McCreary is going to do, unfortunately, a pretty good job of that.
Oh, Titans.
Yeah. They're just
I can't say anything though. So like I'm just gonna
No, you lost to them. You ain't saying nothing.
So I'm not saying anything.
Again, when your quarterback your rookie quarterback just says, yeah, we're really bad. I think it might be time to sell off some of your players.
It's time to wrap it up.
Yeah. So that was the first move that happened. Second move, Braden, I'm gonna let you have the floor on this one because this pertains to your team. But Keon White traded from the New England Patriots, former 2nd-round pick, to the San Francisco 49ers. Braden, you have the floor.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the same package. It's Keon White and a 7th-round pick for a 6th-round pick. Like you said, former 2nd-round pick has shown some flashes, but I think they were kind of trying to play him as more of like a hybrid defensive tackle / defensive end spot. I mean, there's a chance we end up playing him as that, But I have seen Robert Saleh, D'Amico Ryans, any defensive coordinator for the Niners, like since Shanahan has pretty much been there, turn just nobodies on the defensive line and turn them into studs. So I like this trade. It feels like a lot of the fan base doesn't really like it because they see his stats this year and it's like, oh, he has 4 pressures and no sacks and is statistically one of the worst defensive linemen in the NFL. But it's all about context. The young guy, a lot of potential. We're trading basically nothing to get him, and we have no depth as it is. And the Patriots had a lot of depth, so he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. Get him some more opportunities and a better system. This feels like a no lose scenario, really.
Led the Patriots in sacks last year, so that's worth.
Hey, yeah, I mean, the 49ers just need defensive players.
Yeah, they just need bodies.
We just need players.
Yeah.
Need somebody to not get hurt for once.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Another move, Patriots just selling off a lot of guys, despite their 6-2 record. Kyle Duggar, safety from the New England Patriots, gets traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe this will help bolster the Steelers' defense. Again, I think Braden nailed it. I think every single one of these trades has just been a pick swap with a player going out in this. So
maybe Pittsburgh loses by 1 possession if they would have had him last week.
Yeah, they're basically maybe. Pittsburgh already has Jabril Peppers, so now they have Kyle Duggar. They basically just have the Patriots safeties from the last few years for whatever that's worth. So that's really cool. You guys have any thoughts on this one?
I guess. I mean, Duggar pretty much lost his job to Marte Mapu anyways. If you saw really any tape on Duggar this year, he looked like he just didn't want to be there. So I'm not surprised to see him get shipped off. Thought maybe you can get a little bit more for him, but I guess this is just the government mandated package for players to be traded for now. So, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy that was pretty good. I don't know if he's made a Pro Bowl, but was pretty good. He had to have been one of the longest tenured Patriots still on the team, drafted in 2020. But yeah, ever since he lost his starting job, I think it was everyone pretty much knew that he was getting traded. But now we have kind of an interesting trade. We have a player for player-ish trade. We have Michael Carter, the corner from the Jets, getting traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. And then I'll show the next bit of this trade. And then we have John Mechie going to the New York Jets. Pick swaps were involved also, but this was the first player-player trade we've had at this point in the season. But what are you guys' thoughts on this move?
I mean, 2 guys that didn't really play a ton this year, I don't think. I mean, Michael Carter might have saw the field a little bit, but I don't really know how to feel about this one. This feels just like a mid for mid.
Yeah.
All right. That will, I mean, unless anything breaking news happens in the next 10, 15 minutes of us recording, that's probably going to wrap it up for trade talk, unless you guys have anything you want to add, someone you think is going to get traded.
We got our trade deadline graphic. I uploaded that.
Okay, we can go through those really quick. Yeah, pull those bad boys up.
All right, so I kind of tasked us 3 to kind of pick at least one player that they would like to see potentially traded here before the deadline, which is funny because I kind of hope the person I mentioned, at least his name's been brought up a lot in the last couple hours. So maybe while we're talking about it, one of these destinations that I kind of have them shows up, but we'll see here. So for me, I'll start with mine. I would love to see Breece Hall get traded from New York. And in my description, which on this podcast form, it's probably a little hard to read all that. Yeah. We'll post these on social media, but I was more looking for either a team that is currently contending but doesn't have a dominant running back that they can like rely on all 90% of the time to trade for him, or honestly an offense that like it seems like they have some key pieces to becoming a really good offense, but maybe they're missing a running back that could add to their offense. So first of all, I think Breece needs to be out of New York. It sounds like he wants to be there. I don't know if he's ever actually formally requested a trade. If anything, I think I saw something that said that he at one point was looking for an extension from the Jets, but I just think he's wasting his time if he's going to be in New York. I just feel like there's a lot more that he could potentially give to a franchise if they were contending. As just talented as he is, he's on pace for his best season on the ground. And I just don't want to see a great running back potentially have a year wasted or a career wasted in New York. So the 3 teams I put out there are 2 contending teams that I feel like would definitely benefit from a trade with the Jets to get Breece Hall, one of those being Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City really has a like RB1 like per se. I know that like they kind of just throw out anything out there, and they've never really made an effort though to go and like, I guess that's not true because they tried Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That didn't work out, but like they haven't really made a huge effort, it seems like, to get a like elite running back. And I feel like Breece Hall would take their offense to a whole nother level. Granted, don't know what they would have to give up. By the way, he is still on his rookie contract, so this could be, as I mentioned in this description, a trade and extend type of trade situation for him, or a trade and he will just enter free agency at the end of the year. Tampa Bay is another one of them. I mean, Tampa Bay's running room or running back room is just kind of interesting. I feel like they've had some missing holes in that situation, and I feel like he would be a great asset to a team. And plus, he gets to run behind Tristan Wirfs, which I feel like would be a good asset or a good player to be running behind. Arizona is the kind of like dark horse because I've seen some like comments about the potential of him going to Arizona like a couple months ago after James Conner actually got hurt, funny enough. But I feel like Arizona's offense, it's showing that when healthy, it could be a really decent to really, really good offense. Like it's a wide range of like floor to ceiling for them when healthy. And I feel like he would be a good person to replace James Conner. I know James Conner just signed an extension, I think last year, that will keep him around, and it's a hefty bill. So I don't know if how that will all work out, if that's even possible financially for them to be able to do that, because if Arizona is definitely a team where if he would get traded, they would probably want to extend him. But yeah, Breece Hall for me, I feel like definitely needs a new place. So he is my pick for a player I would like to see traded during the trade deadline.
Braden, any thoughts?
With the Bucs trading for a running back, I don't really know if I love that fit personally, just because they already have Bucky Irving, who, I mean, he's hurt for maybe a little bit, but I know he's coming back at some point. And Rachaad White has been uninspiring, I guess, to say the least. So maybe if they want an upgrade at like as a change of pace, not really even a change of pace guy. I feel like Bucky and Breece kind of have fairly similar kind of play styles. I don't know. I don't really know. But as far as other fits, I mean, maybe the Chargers come to mind. You have Najee Harris out for the year probably. Amari Hampton is coming back, so you're kind of looking at the same situation where it's like two of relatively the same running back for at least this season. Who knows if you keep him for next year or not. I didn't really think about the Cardinals much, but that's not like I wouldn't say that's a terrible fit. I mean, who knows what James Conner, the rest of his career even looks like after his injury. Trey Benson, I don't know how long he's out for. But
they don't have good running backs outside of James Conner. There really is no point of referencing anyone else.
Not really. And I know Michael Carter got released. Amari DeMarcado is somehow still on that roster. And then Bam Knight is doing something, I guess. Would be interesting to see him on that. I think having your quarterback and running back at like the same height, because I'm pretty sure they're both 5'10", that would be kind of funny. But not to throw a jab in there or anything, but
maybe Kyler could be the package that in the package deal of some sort.
They run a wildcat formation and put Breece Hall at quarterback, and
he's got a better passing completion rating than Kyler does all year.
He has a better completion percentage than most of the league, I'd guess, with 100%.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be traded at some point. He already posted, like, I think a week or so ago, hashtag free Brees or free 20, whatever, something along those lines. He doesn't want to be there. I can't blame him. It's the Jets.
So he has made it clear that he doesn't want to be there, because I thought I saw
Yeah.
something that he has looked into extending with them, but okay.
Yeah, he does not want to be there. So I at some point I think it would make sense for him to be traded, but I mean nothing is, I guess, impossible. I guess he could stick around if he wants to spend the rest of his career in misery.
Yeah, I like all the teams listed above. I think Kansas City, a week ago I wouldn't have said that this would have been a need, but with Pacheco potentially missed a couple weeks, Kareem Hunt getting banged up in Monday night's game, and them having, I think, literally just Brashard Smith on the roster that's healthy, I think this is more of a fit now. I like Braden said, I think your Cardinals fit does make sense when you explain it. But I don't know. I think the Chargers are a sneaky one if they're not really sold on Kamani Vidal. Just kind of a placeholder back until you get Amari Hampton back, and who knows?
I just don't want to put it on there because if I'm right, I'm going to be mad. That's why I don't want him on the Chargers.
True, but no, I like all the teams listed above. I think the Bucks one you kind of sold me on. I was kind of with Braden at first. It didn't really make sense, but I don't know the severity of Bucky's injury. So, and you don't want to rush a guy like that back too fast. And Rashad White has not been great when Bucky's been out. So, but I like all the teams.
All right, next person up is Braden's.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to switch it up a little bit. I had a lot of offensive players on my list, but I was trying to think of more defensive-minded guys. And the one I kind of landed on was Demario Davis. I mean, has been a stalwart on that Saints defense since he made it there. And whenever he did, I'm not entirely sure when he got there, but
2018.
Yeah. So he's been there for a good while. Like probably one of the longer tenured Saints outside of Cameron Jordan, obviously. And obviously getting up there in age. I think he's 36 now. He's not going to win much on the Saints at this point. Would not be nice to see him get a change of scenery. As far as teams that need a linebacker, I mean, you have the Niners. This would probably be more of a one-year deal as a replacement for Fred Warner in case you don't really love what you're seeing in Tatum Bethune or D. Winters or any of the other hodgepodge guys you have at linebacker. The Bills would be an interesting one next to Tremaine Edmonds, kind of just kind of wreaking havoc up there. We have Milano as well, which or is he hurt?
On the Bills. Edmonds with the Bears, isn't he?
Am I stupid? They have one of the Edmonds brothers.
The safety. They don't have Tremaine. Tremaine's the linebacker.
They don't have the linebacker?
No, he's with the Bears.
I might be stupid.
You're good.
I don't know why they thought. Oh, I thought he was on the Bills. That's embarrassing. Well, yeah, they need a linebacker even more then if they don't have him. I mean, yeah, I guess they just have Milano and hopes and dreams at linebacker. So that would be a pretty good fit on that defense to help build them up and make that Super Bowl push. And then I have the Broncos because, I mean, you have when we were compiling these, Dre Greenlaw wasn't back yet. I think he was getting close, but not quite. And even still, I mean, he came back and then immediately got suspended for a game, which if you saw him in the Niners, that is not a surprise at all. You have no idea when he's actually going to be able to be allowed to play, even if he's not hurt, because he will fight somebody. So if you don't have him, there's not much else going on in that linebacker room as far as off-ball linebackers. Obviously, they have like Nick Bonito and a lot of other really good edge rushers. But as far as a guy to man the middle, it's pretty much just Dre Greenlaw, not much else. So would like to see that fit there. Really just anywhere Demario Davis goes that has a chance of winning, I would like to see, because, I mean, his whole career he's been on the Jets and the Saints. So, I mean, there was a little bit there, like late 2010s, early 2020s maybe, where the Saints were decent. but would be nice to see him win a ring.
I like that Broncos fit because you already have that Sean Payton connection there from the Saints to the Broncos. And I agree with you. I think the Broncos have needs at linebacker. The Niners also make sense. And the Bills, honestly, like outside of the Bills, like main guy, which is Matt Milano, they have like Terrell Bernard, and it was like after that, it's like Shaq Thompson, who just got cut from the Panthers and is like in year 8 or year 9.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like all those teams, honestly. I think if I were to guess where he'd go, I think Denver. I think Denver makes the most sense, not only for him, but for the Broncos and the Saints, because there's obviously that connection between Sean Payton and the Saints organization. But no, I really like all those teams.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think Denver's probably the best. Anytime you can have that connection with someone already, I feel like that's a great way to start out. And thing is like I really like these defenses already. San Francisco is probably the one that probably would benefit. Would benefit the most from just being able to add more bodies. So
yeah, I didn't even think about the connection to Sean Payton when I was making that list. I just knew the Broncos needed a linebacker, but I mean that just sold me even more.
Yeah, that feels like a move that is pretty much in the works right now. Like that feels like it'll get done by Tuesday when the deadline is.
That just feels like it's too easy.
Yeah,
it's one of those that's like, oh, it makes 2 cents. Surely that won't happen,
right?
Because things aren't allowed to make sense.
No, not in the NFL.
All right, Dawson.
All right. After this past Sunday, I may have changed my player, but you know what? That's fine. I'm gonna keep mine with Mark Andrews. The Ravens winning on Sunday kind of threw a wrench in this because I thought they were going to lose to the Bears. But Mark, he just feels super expendable. If you're the Ravens, you already have Isaiah Likely, and you have Charlie Kohler, who has been playing pretty well, caught a touchdown in Sunday's game. Just feels like Mark, he's almost 30, feels like he can be used somewhere else. Again, the Ravens don't really need him. They have kind of an excess of good tight ends. So maybe moving on from him and trading him while you could still get something for him could be beneficial. First team I have is Tampa Bay. Instantly when I thought of this, I think in Oklahoma days with Baker Mayfield, and I think this could be really fun. This offense could be so much fun to watch. Obviously, no Mike Evans, it sounds like, for the rest of the year. But Godwin's going to be back eventually. Emeka Ibuka's been playing lights out. Bucky Irving's going to be back. And if you add a guy like Andrews in the middle of the field with Cade Otton, I think that makes Tampa Bay's offense really, really good. Next team, I have Denver. I just saw a report that Denver just signed 41-year-old Mercedes Lewis on the practice squad.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I saw that earlier today. So if you don't think the Denver Broncos need tight end play, you would be mistaken. They absolutely do. And I just think it makes a lot of sense. Will they trade within the AFC, the Ravens and the Broncos? I don't know. But that just feels like the Broncos' offense has already been pretty good this year. But it just feels like the signing of Evan Ingram really hasn't worked out very well. So it just kind of feels like that'd be a pretty easy trade to make. And again, this is assuming that he wouldn't cost an absurd amount. I mean, so it just made sense to me when I wrote this list down. And then this is kind of like my frisky dark horse one, the Rams. The Rams, it feels like it's Stafford's like last great year. You already have Puka that's balling out. You have Devontae Adams. You have Kyron Williams. Why not add a guy like Mark Andrews, who at this point in his career isn't the player he was 3 or 4 years ago, but he could still have crazy good games in the regular season and in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know. I think if the Rams truly want to give this last year with Stafford a batter's effort, you gotta push your chips in the middle like they did 4 years ago when they won the Super Bowl and they traded for Vaughn and they acquired Odell Beckham Jr. It just kind of feels like a move that would symbolize to Rams fans and to the rest of the NFL that the Rams are going all in this year. So what are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah. I like that Broncos fit a lot because, I mean, like you said, they are desperate for a tight end right now. I mean, they have Evan Ingram and 41-year-old Mercedes Lewis. So, yeah, pretty desperate need for tight end there. The Buccaneers, I mean, you have Cade Otton, but after that, it's like, what, Devin Culp? And
you have that college connection of Baker playing with
yeah,
Clark at Oklahoma.
So that, I mean, I was wishy-washy on that one at first, but I definitely do think that one makes a good amount of sense. And again, it's kind of the same way with the Rams, where I was like, at first, because you have Higbee, who's been okay, and then you just spent the 46th overall pick last year on Terrence Ferguson. So would like to see him maybe get some more opportunities to develop. But if this is truly the year that you want to be like, all right, this is Stafford's last opportunity, let's do whatever we can to get him another ring before he goes off into the sunset, it definitely does make sense to be like, all right, we don't want to wait to have him develop. We need one of the better tight ends. We need as good a tight end play as we can get now. Because you do have mouths to feed already with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. But I definitely think having another safety blanket is certainly not a bad idea. So, yeah, really any of these I think would be pretty good fits. Feels like a lot of teams would be like, could you add a tight end and make this team better? Yeah, probably. So I really, if he was to get traded really anywhere, I think automatically would make them a lot better of an offense.
Brock, any thoughts?
Sign me up for a Baker Mayfield, Mark Andrews reunion.
That's kind of why I threw that one in there.
Yeah, any Baker Mayfield connection you could possibly make, you're on that.
I didn't even think about that. Like when I saw Mark Andrews on the rundown, I was like why? Where would he? And then I was like, oh, I may or may not have forgotten about that connection, but no, I think Mark Andrews would be a good tight end for a team that not only is contending, but maybe even teams that are like some quarterbacks are still developing, give them an opportunity to have someone that they could kind of rely on sometimes. The team I'm kind of thinking of, I don't know. I guess I don't remember their exact tight end situation, but like honestly, New England was a team that I thought of, like giving Drake May like another guy to like be able to throw the ball to. I know that Mark isn't what he used to be, but like I don't know, just give Mark anywhere but Baltimore at this point, because Baltimore is a sinking ship, it seems like.
And it feels like they know who their tight end of the future is, and Isaiah Likely. So
they likely know who's going to be their starting tight end.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You could say.
Yeah. But it just feels like he's super expendable. And I would, if I'm the Ravens, I trade him now. Like I think this season's pretty much over. I don't care that they won last game, whatever. I think their season's pretty much cooked. Might as well sell off on some of your players.
He is at the point in your career where you are no longer the big shiny new thing, and you are now. I couldn't find a better comparison in terms of that, but like he is now basically a car where like the longer you wait in terms of ownership, the more and more the value decreases on a daily basis. So you might as well try to get as much as you can right now, because you are not going to get what you may have originally invested in at this point.
Yeah, I think another way of putting that was what I was going to say. It is better to trade a player 1 year too early than it is to trade a player 1 year too late. Because you would rather see him be have 1 year that's like, oh, he's one of the best tight ends of the league, and then he just falls off there. You would rather that be their problem than have it be, oh, we held on to this guy thinking we could get a first out of him or whatever. Not a first, obviously, but
right.
A lot more value next year or the year after that, and still have him be a serviceable upper half tight end of the league. But then once you get to the point where you're ready to trade him, now he sucks, which I don't think he'll suck for a while. Obviously, I think he's still, again, like you said, not what he once was, but still has an all right amount of gas in the tank. but you'd rather pull into the gas station with a quarter tank than with the light on.
Yeah. Well said. That's pretty much it for trade talk. Again, next episode is going to be pretty jam-packed.
That's going to be the fun one.
Yeah, we're going to be reacting to all the trades. But now we're going to do player of the weeks and power rankings. Brock, you mentioned this guy, but this is Braden's player of the week. We already talked a lot about him.
It's not mine.
That's my player of the week.
Oh, it's your player of the week. Sorry, I forgot the order.
Yeah.
I guess we always start with Braden, but Brock, here you go. Floor is yours.
I picked Breece Hall for his performance against the Cincinnati Bengals. 151 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air, and he threw once. Which this is the second time I've picked an Iowa State running back, funny enough. Not just a running back. No, not just that. It's the second time I've picked an Iowa State running back who threw a passing touchdown against the Cincinnati Bengals defense in Cincinnati this season. The fact that I'm even able to say that happened once.
That's an ESPN stat if I've ever heard one.
Yep. But without Breece Hall, the Jets are still winless this year, so I feel like it was kind of an obvious pick. I mean, Dawson, you can back me up. I think I sent you my player of the week pick after he threw that touchdown. Like, it was instant.
Brock, both these guys usually wait till like Monday night to just see what that game looks like to send me player of the week. Brock sent me immediately at 3:30 on Sunday. He's like, Breece player of the week. Nothing else, just Breece player of the week. So,
because he is the reason the Jets are not winless right now. So I hope he is no longer in New York the next time that we are on a podcast here. There are a couple teams I don't want him on. I'm not going to comment on that. I've mentioned 3 teams that I think would be decent fits for him. And there are probably more that I haven't even considered. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands. And more specifically, I'm interested to see. I doubt that this would be a situation, but I'm interested to see if he will sign an extension this week too. Because as in, like, once he gets traded, because I could see a situation where a team, honestly, maybe even Kansas City, might just invest in him, run the course, and if it doesn't work out, like, you guys don't win the Super Bowl kind of thing, like, you just kind of like call it a day and maybe he ends up somewhere else. But like, I highly doubt that. I think wherever he gets traded, he'll probably end up signing an extension. But Breece Hall, 151 total yards, 4 of those through the air, 100% completion percentage, as Dawson has it mentioned on the stat, 3 touchdowns, 1 through the air.
Yeah. Great pick. Braden?
Yeah, so I had a lot of guys I was kind of considering for this. I had, I don't want to spoil too much in case one of these is yours, Dawson, but I had Jonathan Taylor up there. I had Myles Garrett up there, and I had James Cook. And I settled on James Cook because I think 216 yards is the most in a game by a Buffalo running back since that one guy that wasn't too nice. Had 2 rushing touchdowns as well, 11.4 yards per carry as we have on the graphic. Had himself, I took some notes, but I didn't get put on the show now. Yeah, all of these stats were rushing. Did not have a single reception in this game. And this is against the Carolina rushing defense that, they weren't good last year. But, I mean, they haven't been bad this year. I mean, going into this game, they were 8th in the league in yards allowed, 13 in yards per attempt. So this is a solid Carolina defense. And James Cook just destroyed them. I mean, we saw a couple weeks ago kind of what happens when James Cook isn't having an insane game, where they can kind of balance it out with Josh Allen and be able to win games. James Cook kind of struggled a couple weeks ago, and they ended up losing. So whenever they can have big games out of James Cook, they are going to win games. They got the biggest game of his career, and they won. Granted, it's against the Panthers with Andy Dalton, who we didn't even get to talk about how bad of a performance that was. I don't think we need to talk about it. You already know if you're here. But, yeah, still just heck of a performance, James Cook.
I'm glad I took my hoodie off. The one I had to start the show.
Rather fitting.
Great pick.
Yeah, choose your words wisely there, man.
The Bills, like, this NFL season's so weird because again, there isn't really
this season is drunk.
no one's talking about like a team consistently. It seems like this year, like I feel like the Bills have kind of been forgotten about. Like we mentioned earlier, yes, they lost to the Browns, but the Packers only have one loss on their record, and no one's really talking about them. This season is just weird, man. It's just weird, but a great performance. I mean, when you can average 11.4 yards per carry, whew. I mean, a lot of teams would wish for even half of that.
Yeah, anything above like 4.5, you're doing really well. 11,
whew.
Ugh.
Yeah, he certainly balled out. One of the players Braden mentioned is one of my players of the week. We all went running backs. Funny enough, on the weekend it was National Tight End Day, so that's kind of ironic. I almost went Tucker Kraft, but I'm like, dude, we have not talked enough about Jonathan Taylor and the performance he's had this season, so I had to give him his flowers this week. Taylor is probably the front runner to win Offensive Player of the Year at this point in the season. He's having a better statistical year than Saquon did last year, and we thought Saquon's performance last year was unbelievable, and he is not miles ahead, but I think Taylor's on pace for like 2,200 rushing yards at this point in the season. I think he already has like 15, 16 touchdowns thus far with the Colts. But yeah, he played well this past Sunday against the Titans. I mean, the Titans they're not world beaters, but hey man, the Colts are still handling business, and Taylor, 174 yards, 3 total touchdowns. I think he had one receiving touchdown. Again, a guy that had 12 carries for 153 yards. Like, these yards per carries numbers are insane for both Cook, Taylor, even Breece Hall had some pretty insane yards per carry numbers. But yeah, the Colts, this was just kind of my opportunity to give them their flowers because I just feel like we haven't talked about Taylor enough this season. But
which is crazy because the Colts are a one-loss team.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts have been killing it. I think I saw a stat. I'm not entirely sure if this is accurate, but I believe this game, tied LaDainian Tomlinson for most games, or either tied it or now he's one game away from tying LT's record for most games with 3 touchdowns in a season. So just a heck of a performance, heck of a season. Just I feel like I have said a lot about the Colts. I feel like the Colts, who knows what they're going to do in January, but we're having a whole lot of fun with them in October.
Yeah, we got to give them their flowers when they deserve it. And right now, this entire team has just been on a complete roll to start the season, as we're kind of at that halfway point. We're going to get to power rankings, then we're going to wrap this episode up. Starting off, instead of Brock, Braden, you have the floor.
Yeah, I kind of have like a general rule I try to stick to as best as I can. If you don't lose, I'm not going to punish you. Like it, even if it is a bye, which I thought about maybe taking like the Seahawks down a couple steps off of the bye, but I still stand on what I said last week. I still think that they are one of the better teams in the league based on their resume. I wanted to put the Packers in here somewhere because, again, they're another team with one loss at this stage. It's them and the Colts with one loss. But, again, I mean, none of these teams lost. What, am I going to take the Chiefs out after a win? Am I going to knock the Seahawks from 3-6 without losing a game? I didn't really know. There's a lot of teams that you can consider for this top 5. And I'd say all of these guys are in the consideration and none of them lost. So that kind of is what it is. And for anybody audio listeners that didn't watch last week, I have the Colts at number 1, the Lions at number 2, the Seattle Seahawks at 3, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 4, and the Kansas City Chiefs at number 5.
Yeah.
This is going to be such a quick
I know.
rankings rundown.
All right, Brock, we'll just get to yours because
because I didn't have any movement.
Oh, I forgot.
Either.
I changed the arrows. The arrows should not be there.
Yeah. The graphic's not 100% correct, but it is correct at the same time.
Yeah.
I have the same 1 through 5 as last week for my power rankings. For those listening, it's Detroit at number 1, Indianapolis at 2, Denver at 3, New England at 4, Kansas City at 5. Don't lose, you can't drop, and I don't punish teams for bye weeks either. So the only one that maybe I would have considered is Indianapolis moving up to 1 and like just flipping Detroit, but like I don't know. Not enough for me to make any movements. I thought about Green Bay as well. I also didn't want to force Dawson to like figure out how he was going to put the tie record into the graphic. So when that day comes, good luck, Dawson. But yeah, Lions, Colts, Broncos, Patriots, and Chiefs.
Cat heard Lions propaganda and had something to say about it.
Meow.
All right. I told these guys before we started recording, they're going to hate my power rankings.
I'm looking forward to this.
And quite frankly,
excited.
I don't care. Here they are.
Good grief.
All right.
You don't have the tie.
He put it as a disclaimer at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
I did not want to add another row. I did not want to add another row. So for the rest of the season, if the Packers or the Cowboys are in the power rankings, they will have an asterisk.
Well, the Cowboys will not.
You believe what you're seeing? Look at this garbage.
This is terrible.
He has the Lions at 3.
I have the Colts at 1.
Dropping after winning.
It's who you like.
Look at this guy.
Can I get to my list?
This is the cat of disappointment.
Cat of disappointment.
All right. I like I mentioned with my player of the week, I got to give the Colts their flowers. 7-1. I've been waiting for Daniel Jones pumpkin mode the entire season. Haven't gotten it yet. So I can no longer have them any lower than 1. They've been balling out. Their offense is unbelievable. Defense, I have my concerns, but sounds like they're going to be pretty aggressive at the deadline, looking for secondary help. But the Colts have just been really good. Taylor's going to win probably Offensive Player of the Year. But yeah, 7-1. They're 7-1 for a reason. They're a good team. This is the one I knew that both these guys were going to have their issues with. I had the Chiefs at 2. I had them at 5 last week. I think Kansas City's playing the best football other than the Colts in the NFL right now. Yes, I know that they're a 3-loss team and I have them at number 2. I understand that, but the last 3 or 4 weeks for Kansas City has looked really good. And not even the offense for me, but that defense for Kansas City is really, really good. We didn't really talk about the Raiders game last week, but their last 3 games, they've only allowed a total of 24 points. I know 2 of those 2 games are against the Raiders and the Commanders without Jaden, but it's still hard to play defense in the NFL. The offense is humming right now. Rashee Rice is back in the swing of things. The lack of running game is still concerning, and there are O-line injuries that are concerning for KC, but I think you'd be lying to yourself if you don't think Kansas City is playing some of the best football in the league, despite the 5-3 record. Number 3, I have the Lions dropping. I hated doing this, but I also didn't hate doing this. I wanted Kansas City at 2, and Kansas City has the head-to-head over Detroit, so I felt it was okay to keep Detroit slightly behind KC. I don't really have any questions about Detroit. They're going to be really good come the playoffs. Defense, I guess, is slightly concerning, but this team's really good, and they're going to still continue to win a lot of games. The Bucks, again, we didn't even talk about their game. Did they play the Saints? Is that the game I'm remembering?
Yeah, your former Hawk.
They played the Saints and beat them so bad that Rattler got benched.
Yeah, I mean,
and the Saints announced that who's the rookie quarterback?
They benched him full time. Tyler Shuck is now the starter quarterback.
So, I mean,
the guy that was teammates with Justin Herbert at Oregon and is currently a rookie. And is, I think, 2 years or a year. He is either way older than Rattler.
Yeah, which is just pretty insane. But the Bucks, they beat him by 20. This game was just not very enjoyable, so we never talked about it. But Tampa Bay handled business, but it is the Saints, so I won't give them. I will move them down just to move Kansas City up. And then I have the Packers at 5. I had the Packers at 1 in our first iteration of the power rankings, and I think the second week too. But again, they have one blemish on the record, and it's losing to the Browns. But other than that, when this team is on, this team is rolling. Their offense looks really good. Jordan Love looks unbelievable right now. Defense, I have my concerns, but this team's playing some great football right now. But yeah, there you go. What are your guys' thoughts? I want to hear it.
I mean, my guess was that the Chiefs are going to be somewhere in the top 3 because you were talking so much about how we're going to hate it. And I mean, I was right. I agree they are playing some of the best football in the league. That's why I have them in the top 5. Top 2? I mean, push comes to shove. Once we're getting towards like week 16, week 17, we can start having these conversations. But there are teams
like
with
an
one
AP
loss.
voter right now. He's ranking him like an AP voter. He's predicting.
He kind of is, man. He's ranking them on hypotheticals.
I don't know, man. Last 3 weeks, Kansas City's looked pretty good.
Last 3 weeks, yeah, they have. They have 3 losses right now, and there are 2 teams in the NFL with 1, like you said.
True.
I'm shocked neither of you had Denver in your power rankings. You gotta their 2 losses are to Indianapolis by 1 and San Diego. I wish it was
Chargers.
San Diego. The Chargers by 3. So
I think I'd rather keep Tampa Bay in my top 5 at this point, because that would be the team I would take out, despite Tampa Bay being at 4 and Green Bay being at 5. I don't know. That would be the only one that could potentially flip-flop, because I think Detroit's look really good. And obviously can't move Indy. And Green Bay's look pretty good. But yeah, Denver's looked really good. Brock, would you have them in yours? 4?
3.
Is it 3?
3. New England's at 4.
Bang. Come on, I pay attention.
Yeah.
If I had to move a team out, I probably would be the Seahawks. We'll see how they finish, but I would say I'm probably higher on them than the consensus, and I really don't like the Seahawks. So if I can move them out of my top 5 as quick as possible, you better sweet Bippy, I will.
All right. All right. Any other thoughts before we wrap up this episode?
Only other thing I wanted to mention is Aiden Hutchinson got himself a contract extension. I'm pulling up the numbers right now, but I think it was a 4-year. He got paid, which is the right call. I think it was $45 million a year, the same as what Parsons got, which is fair. I think he's been one of the better edge rushers in the league. I think you can make a conversation for top 3 in the NFL when he's healthy. So good decision by the Lions signing him before the market gets even crazier than it already is.
Yeah. Money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to add a ka-ching sound effect.
Yeah, I thought I heard you try to do a little ka-ching on your computer. It picked up half a pixel.
Yeah.
Damn. I was trying to quickly grab it and download it in time so I can upload it, but it didn't work. I'll add it for next time because there's going to be more players getting paid. We all know the NFL.
Yeah.
The market only resets.
All right. Anything else? If not, we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Brock Purdy, if you can hear me, please save me. Please save me. Brock Purdy.
Yeah. There's a couple good games this week. I don't know if you guys have looked ahead to this weekend slate of games. We have Chiefs, Bills. What was the good one?
Who do the Cardinals get to lose by 3 by?
The Cowboys. Monday Night Football.
Oh, no way.
That's going to be the best.
Whoa. Is that in Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay. The only time I ever have hope is when Kyler Murray is in AT&T Stadium.
And, funny enough, if you wanted to go to this game, apparently to ESPN, you can get in for $16 if you wanted to go to that game.
$16. I think a hot dog at the stands would probably cost you more than $16, not to call back to the beginning of the episode.
And that's for a standing room, I should say. If you want an actual seat, it's $26.
Yeah, if you want to stand in the bright sun of AT&T Stadium for 4 hours, go right ahead and spend your $16.
It will be on Monday night, though, so it might not be.
Yeah.
On a Monday.
I can't remember for sure, but unless I am forgetting a loss somewhere, Kyler has never lost in AT&T Stadium as a high school athlete, college athlete, or a pro. So the little bit of hope I have as a Cardinals fan, and if that goes,
the little bit of hope goes when Jacoby Brissett is named the starter once again.
Yes.
But like, as long as Kyler's on the sidelines,
his spirit just needs to be in the stadium in the win.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a new COD that released recently? He's
no.
He's got 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks. He can play the beta.
Beta's closed.
Guess
they closed the beta? Man.
Yeah, they closed the beta a couple months.
Guess who the Cardinals play in 2 weeks?
They play the Niners?
Yep.
Let's go.
All right, so Braden, you could chalk that one up for a win.
All right. As many of those as we can get right now.
Well, if that's it, then we will wrap this episode up. We will have a lot of trade info for next Tuesday's trade deadline in the NFL.
Also, be on social media. Braden might be making some videos if big trades happen.
Yeah.
They might let me out of the shackles of this podcast.
Yes. So if and when a star gets traded, let's hope it's a good deadline. Last year's deadline was pretty good. I think like Marshawn Lattimore got traded from the Saints. So we'll see. We'll see if anything.
I think by every metric that we've heard, this is supposed to be like the busiest deadline in like the last couple of years.
They've hit NBA levels.
I was gonna say feels like Shams. You're like, oh, this offseason is gonna be really big, a lot of moves, and it's like,
and then it's
Isaac Okoro to the Bulls for Lonzo Ball. It's like,
man. Yeah, it's like the day is like nothing, but then like a random Tuesday at 11:15 p.m. I roll over from my sleep to 5 notifications that Luka's on the Lakers now.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
No,
I literally was.
That is one of those that you will remember where you were for the rest of your life when you heard that news.
I can't remember what happened that resulted in me. So whenever we have extra people or whatever coming over, 1 sec. Sorry, I had to say something. We have an air mattress, so whenever guests come over, I usually am the one that has to give up their bed or whatever. And I was actually like literally getting ready to fall asleep on this air mattress in the most uncomfortable position when Dawson and Hunter, who
oh my God,
on the Hardwood Convos podcast group chat, was just blowing it up. And I was like, this can't be real. I was like, am I already asleep and having this nightmare that Luka's a Laker?
I remember texting Braden when that broke. I'm like, dude, Shams got hacked. Like, this is crazy.
Yep. I remember that he was like, is this real? Question mark. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's the official account. Like, this is either an insane bit or just insane.
Let's hope we have that kind of moment on Tuesday. Like that would be.
We already had it before week 1. It feels like Micah Parsons for the Packers is about as crazy as you're going to get.
Chiefs, man. Breece Hall to the Chiefs.
Love me some Breece Hall, but that does not quite have the aura of Micah Parsons getting shipped off because the Cowboys want to establish the run defense.
Fine,
and now
Breece
they're
Hall
like
to
a middling run
defense
defensive
for
pass.
Kyler Murray.
Breece Hall to the Rams. You heard it here first.
As a Kyron Williams fantasy owner, I would cry.
Wait, no, I have both of them. I guess someone will score.
That's bad for both because they both are going to lose their touches. You're going to get a Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet situation, dude.
I'll take one of them is bound to score a touchdown at least.
Yeah,
you're going to be like that one guy that starts both Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in fantasy. It was like, one of them's going to score.
True, and they always do.
Hey, I was alternating between David Montgomery and Cam Scatterbo for a while because one of them was guaranteed a touchdown each week. So, which they're not on the same team, but like they weren't necessarily until Cam became an elite, just a every down guy. You were guaranteed at least one of them would find the end zone.
Yeah. All right, fellas, it's getting late. We need to wrap this episode up.
I need some dinner.
Yeah, same here. To wrap up this episode, great talk, a lot of trade talk. Guys who we think are going to get traded, and then power rankings, obviously, player of the week. But to wrap this one up, for Braden Bacon, Brock Bierman, for myself, Dawson Livingston, we are signing off.